Hey, do you remember when we were kids, we used to do this thing called dim, bones, dim, dry bones, dim, bones, dim, dry bones. And then we used to go, the backbone connected to the hip bone connected to the thigh bone connected to the knee bone. Well, it turns out that that is more true than we know. Um, so, I always talk about how extraordinary the human body is. And the human body is wired to take care of us. Really, if we did nothing at all but just ate really well and exercised and just all of the things that would keep our bodies in perfect shape, we would never need any medication, any supplements, nothing. So my husband and I were having a conversation the other day, and it kind of went like this, and I want to share it with you. So it's really early in the morning. Well, it's early for retirees. And I apologize in advance, my love, but this was such an exciting thing for me. I just had to start talking about it this morning. So excuse me. So what I want to do is put the my yoga practice, because typically we get up and I practice yoga, and you do your weights and you do yoga, and we do a little routine before we try to get our day started. But I don't want to do anything because we got our day started a little differently this morning. I mean, I shouldn't be all excited. It should be normal, but somehow I know I see somehow it hasn't been a normal thing for me. I don't know if it's avoidance, but we'll talk about that later. But the first thing I want to do is why we're doing this is, actually, I've been having this issue for quite a while with my hips. And, I always look for some explanation other than, what's really happening. And so the other day, I've been having this hip issue and I've been concerned. Really, I was hoping that I didn't have to be worried about a hip replacement. Yeah, I'm 70. I'll be 73, my birthday. And, I was beginning to get a little concerned. So I was searching on YouTube and just trying to figure out what's going on in this right hip. It's just been hurting. I mean, I can barely stand on it. And I've been taking turmeric and, things for pain like feverfew and rubbing stuff on it. And still, I wasn't getting much of a relief. And so I was looking at this video just to kind of figure out what's going on. Is it the bone? Is it the muscle? And it really feels more muscular to me, but it's certain movements, certain hip movements, the flexes, that like, I don't know. I'm a visual person, so I want to demonstrate what I think I'm feeling. So, it's like the pain is like basically kind of in here, but it's more like here's my spinal, my ilium, and it's right kind of between the ilium. So actually my gluteal muscles, I was feeling some discomfort in my gluteal muscle, but just on this side. And yesterday I was practicing yoga and it was hurting me so bad until I could do, the crane pose, which I like to do just for balance purposes. Stand on one leg and balance, right? This is the right leg. I could do it on the left leg. I could do it with the left leg, no issue. But yesterday, I tried to get on this right leg. Pain. I could not balance myself. It was hurting me so bad. This is today. So no pain. Why is that? So one of the things that I got was, okay, which muscles are we talking about? So like I looked at a couple of videos that talked about the psoas muscles, the psoas minor and the psoas major. So anyway, yesterday I was combing through a lot of YouTube videos to look at the anatomy of the hip to see if I could, I don't know, just kind of discern, figure out what's happening in my body. And there's this diagram, of course, that talks about the musculature of of that area, which I don't think it's my bone. I think it's my musculature. And the three muscles that they talked about were the psoas. They're two muscle. It's a muscle group. It's the iliacus and the psoas group, and if there's a psoas major and a psoas minor. So basically, what I kind of figured out from watching all those videos is that my muscles are have been restricted, and it's like, why is that? Yeah, so with this particular video, he was showing how you could actually, you're supposed to hold on to a wall, but showing how you can kind of like stretch that muscle. You go up, I have to go, like I'll do it from the back. I'm gonna bend out like this, and then I'm gonna go, make sure I'm gonna go up and sort of make a circle, and then come back up and come around, okay, and down. And you do that about 5 times on each side. And it's actually opening up, the hip joints and actually stretching the muscle. Anyway, something like that. And then, of course, there were others, like there was this, and you don't want to, so I don't want to, flex my back. I just want to keep my back straight and just, swing my leg back, but keep my back straight. And I have a tendency to do that. I have a tendency to curve my back, and that could be a problem for me. So what I really want to do is engage my abdominals and don't do any flexing of the back. I need to keep my back as straight as possible. And you do that, on each side without, I know it looks like I'm curving my back, but that's my bottom sticking out. But it's like that. And then the other one was just kind of like hanging, just bending all the way over. Actually, you could start out at a 90-degree angle, but you can bend all the way over, and you want to stretch the, what are these muscles? Hamstring, yeah, sorry. Stretch the hamstring muscles as well. But listen, just that exercise alone, it really helped me. I felt a lot better. But the surprise is this. I actually started thinking about, the way my hip moves when I do those exercises. And, it put me in the mind of something that for some reason, I don't know. I like this thing, but I don't do it as much as I used to or should because I'm always concerned about something, right? Making sure that all the anatomy is perfect, right? And if there's the slightest bit of discomfort, then it takes me out mentally. So, but this morning I was thinking about it, and I said, or not even this morning, yesterday I started, and I said, when I have sex, this whole area, the whole uh, that whole joint, all those muscles, they're moving in all directions and flexing and stretching. And actually, after the activity, I feel quite, I feel much better. I feel quite, okay, I feel quite good, actually. And so, I decided that that's one of my problems is that I don't have sex enough. And so I wanted to do this video because I think it's important for us as seniors to get that part of the issue with our knees and our hips and all of that is that we don't get enough movement. We don't walk enough. We don't get enough sex. We don't dance enough. We don't do those movements that will keep those joints um, flexible. Like I'm thinking all the time. I'm always thinking about the next thing, the next day, what we're going to do the next day, or you know, I'm always thinking.
Yeah, you're worried about what might happen, what could happen, instead of just enjoying things. You're trying to anticipate and figure out solutions to things that haven't even happened. Anticipate what could go wrong, what might go wrong. And if that's consuming you, then you're just not going to live life. I realize that as a single parent, you were trying to carry everything yourself and worry about anticipating anything that might go wrong. And yeah, so what you were doing was you were focused on what might happen that would be bad or negative, things that might happen. You want to be prepared for whatever might come along, whatever might happen.
Okay. So what does that have to do with, the price of tea in China? I mean, I'm
focused on the things that might go wrong. Focus on trying to stop things that you didn't want to have happen.
I know what I'm talking about. My hip pain.
We were talking about the focus where your head. You're a single parent, so you're trying to deal with all of the things that a parent might encounter. You as a parent might encounter, and trying to be prepared to deal with those things as they came along, which can put you in a mode of constantly being focused on stopping things that were bad, being ready for things that might happen.
Well, anyway, I that could be so. Like I'm always, for example, if I have something that happens to me. So if I have, say, I have something that physically occurs, then what that physically occurs to my vagina, let's say my private area, then what happens for me is that mentally, I just, like I will treat it and take care of everything, but then I go into a mode of prevention. I don't want that anymore. So I'm not going to do that action because that action causes this and that was not comfortable. And so I'm not going to do that. And so I'm always kind of thinking in advance. It's like, I want to do this, but no, the last time or one time, this happened and I was all, like uncomfortable and had to do some palliative treatment, and I don't want to deal with that right now. And so, but what's interesting is, on the one hand, I think I'm, protecting, my space, my body, my private areas. I'm taking perfect care of them. And then on the other hand, I'm depriving myself. And what I discovered is that the depriving myself of the joy of orgasm and sex has caused my muscles to, like be restrictive. How they say, use it or lose it.
That's right.
And I think that is absolutely the truth, which is interesting because if I'm not using my muscles, then you're not using your muscles unless you're doing something on the side. So
different muscles, but go ahead.
Well, no, it's the same thing. If you don't use it, you lose it. But I haven't seen any evidence of loss where you are concerned. And I know there's nothing, no hanky panky going on because you're always with me, you know? Even when you try to wake up at night and go, and go to the bathroom, I'm like, what you doing? Where are you? I mean, I just wake up. I can't sleep without you being in the bed. I mean, I can sleep, but I know when your presence, when you are not there. So
Yeah,
it's what's interesting is that, so why are my muscles atrophying? We walk together, we ride bikes together, we do yoga together. You lift weights. I'm not lifting any weights right now, but still we're doing a lot of exercises together. Why is it that my hip muscles are beginning to atrophy and or whatever is happening to them? They're not atrophying, but they're restricting. The movement is restricted, and nothing is happening to your jewel. It's the same as it was when I met you. You're like a young child, a young boy.
Different anatomy.
I'm sorry, I made you. I made you cough. Let me go. Let's go on a break for a second.
Well, actually, the truth is that your anatomy is different than mine in some respects because, the wider hips and all that good stuff. But, and we do, the way we exercise is a little different because when I bike, I'm biking a lot. I used to bike a lot. And so the way I approach biking is different. And riding a bike, once you learn how to ride a bike, you never forget.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. Don't talk that old mess about riding a bike. I've been riding a bike since I was a little kid as well. And wait a second now. And I'm like very active. I played basketball. I played volleyball. I ran track. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, say what?
So when I biked 30, it was nothing for us to bike 30 miles a day. Okay.
Oh, well.
So that's a different kind of biking than, going to the store or going here, there, whatever, But
okay, I see your point.
But
that's why your legs look so good because you're also a runner.
Yeah, and I should run a lot, and so, but I can also detect changes in my body because I'm not doing the running anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing the long distance biking anymore, and so I'm well aware of the fact that things are changing, and unless I do something preventative, it's going to wind up. I'm going to wind up in a place where I'm going to have trouble walking or trouble biking.
Why did you look? Why did you look at me like that? Well, listen, I wanted to do this video because I think it's really important. So anyway, I decided that I was going to jump your bones this morning. And as I know that I shouldn't be thinking in my head like this, but I am, because for me, it was therapeutic. It started out therapeutic. And I'm analyzing how my body, the position of my body, the position of my pelvis, my legs, and, sort of like a butterfly. And also one of the videos that I saw on YouTube talked about making sure that you engage your abdominals, because you can really mess up your back if you're like flexing that back and, to over flexing. But what I discovered is that during the act of sex, it's almost natural the way your body positions itself, like I've started out on top and the way my legs and my pelvis and the motion. And quite frankly, when we started, my hip was hurting, but I was determined to deal with that hip. And really, this is not X-rated. I'm a doctor. So this is really therapeutic for me. I'm shocked and surprised. And why should I be shocked? I should know this. I should. But I could not believe that after that activity, my hip was no longer hurting. So the purpose of this video is to, share with our senior audience that really you're never too old. And the reason we get too old is because we stop. We stop doing things. We don't walk as much, as far. We don't have sex as often as the young people, or as we did when we were younger. And we become sedentary. And that was one of the big things that the the guy on the video that I looked at said, is that the biggest problem we have, we find all kinds of reasons why the hip is hurting. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a hip replacement. And really all it was is that my muscles have been restricted, and I've done that to myself. I did that to myself. So, I have made a pact with myself, and I'm sure you're very happy about this, my dear, but that I must have sex 3-4 times a week just for the workout, because I am not having hip surgery. I'm not having a hip replacement or any other kind of replacement. And so I believe that the body is designed to take care of all of your ailments and issues. And sex just happens to be a natural part of taking care of yourself.
Sure. Whatever movement, whatever activity your body's designed to do, if you stop doing it, bad things are going to happen.
Well, it's really the truth, and we're not really trying to be, comical. Although it's almost funny that I didn't realize that just stopping things, stop walking. Look, I got sick last week with another flu. We've gotten another bug, and we don't know. We do everything we possibly can to avoid this, face mask, all that, but we still catch things. And so I was sick for about 4 or 5 days and didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't walk my dog. I didn't ride the bike. I laid around. I sat around. And by the end of that 5th day, I was hurting all over. My body was hurt. I didn't get any sun.
I always feel bad when I'm in bed too long. I think most people do. You got to get up and move. And if you don't move, your body starts to complain, tell you it's sending you a message. You need to get up and move.
That's the truth. And the moment I realized that, and I said, what did I say? I needed some sun. I need to walk. And I know that when I say I need to walk, I need sun, and I get out there and walk 2 or 3 miles and come back, the body feels differently, hydrating and all of that. So anyway, I wanted to share this video about how good sex is for your body, for your mind, for your soul, for your emotions. But for me, for the purpose of this video, it was good for me physically. I mean, literally, my back is no longer hurting. So this is a public service announcement. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. I wanted to include a few diagrams showing the musculature and skeletal system of the areas we talked about. And since then, I've discovered the McKenzie exercises for sciatica and low back pain. Including these exercises did the trick. And here I'm demonstrating 5 exercises that will help to stretch the muscles that we talked about and open up that pelvic area. And I do 5 of these on each leg and 2 to 3 reps if possible. I've also incorporated a new exercise that I discovered called the McKenzie exercises, which reverses the compression of the vertebrae of the lumbar spine, which can cause low back pain. I tend to get that after I've ridden my bike. The exercise looks almost identical to the cobra pose of yoga, and a modified version of the pose can be done using pillows to prop the upper part of your body up. So I've discovered as long as I do all of these exercises that I have talked about, I remain pain-free. Aging is inevitable, but as I see it, pain is a choice.